Hello there, Decalores community. I pray that things are well with you today. I would like to talk about continuing on to hearing the voice of God, our true shepherd, Lord Jesus Christ, and to really talk about how he communicates with us. Look to see, hear to listen, and sense to feel. But the first thing I would like to talk about is discerning his voice, learning his voice through practice and having a relationship with him every day. In order to do that, we have to stay in the Word every day to hear his voice. Get into a quiet place like a room or somewhere you can have some alone time, even in your car or something like that, or even at the lake. I like to go fishing. So sitting by the lake and focusing on his voice helps out a lot. Standing in his word, and the word it says is my sheep knows my voice. He hears my voice. When the Lord speaks, we have to learn how to tune in to his voice. It's a process to grow. The key to this is to practice it every day. To learn to hear his voice is like learning how to walk as a child, learning how to actually take your first steps. Here's a cool fact about me. When I was 2 years old, I didn't know how to walk yet. So my dad's pastor, she was standing there and I was trying to hold on to her skirt and she slapped my hand and I began to walk. It may take that for some people, but for me, that's what happens, that I started walking. So it really depends on the person. God speaks to us in different ways. Every person is not the same. So there's different ways that God will speak to you. Understand that part, and it takes time to really hear his voice. So get to a place to where you can actually hear him and actually pay attention to your surroundings as you hear from him. Because sometimes it's our voice, or it can be from the enemy, or it can be our thoughts from our heart, or anything like that. To learn to tune in and turn on our ears and have control of the volume, especially when we have theories going in our head, it'll turn into a personal reality. So all those thoughts and theories will come into I want to say into a place to where you can actually keep it in a good area in your heart and your mind where you can hear his voice. It's not like it won't be all over the place. You just come down to an actual, I would say something solid that you can hear from God and not think it's something else. Because when you hear from God, it's always positive. He always encourages you to continue on or whatever he needs you to do or say to you to keep you going. In this process, you will have to walk into the ownership, or you're gonna have to walk into it to where it becomes a possession of the ownership of your mind, and then it turns to a stewardship. And really, do not despise the small beginnings because it starts off small. With me, it started out as a faint voice. At the time, it sounded like my mother. As my mother passed away, God used her voice to speak to me. And even today, he uses the people I have a relationship with to speak with me, to let me know where what I have to do or say, or where I have to go into the word and read. And he give me confirmation through these thoughts of greatness that he used, or the people that he used in my life to speak life and encouragement into me. And I feel that the Lord is going to do the same for you, that he uses the people that you love, that you recognize the voice. Like his word says, his sheep knows his voice. And whatever voices he uses, he's going to use someone that you have a relationship with, not someone out of the blue that you don't know, or a voice you never even heard of. It could even see Satan can use voices too that it causes confusion. And it causes us to move all over the place to where we can't even understand where we're supposed to be. And God is not the author of confusion. So when God speaks to you, it is very, very clear. And it could be a soft voice, but it be a heartfelt voice where it catch your attention, and you would know that it is God. Trust me, you will know that it's God. God speaks to us once again in different ways. And there's 3 methods that God actually uses to speak to us. And that's through mental images or pictures. Sometimes you have a vision, or you see a certain picture of a place or a person or a thing that he used to speak to you. And you have to describe it or really elaborate on what he's trying to say to you. You know, he uses that to express his voice to us. Another way he uses is physical sensations or heartfelt impressions that sometimes you sense that deep down in you, you know God is trying to tell you something about the issue or about the outcome of something. You know, or even through his word, you will hearing words that come out of the blue, but you know it's his voice, or a word in thought form that he will speak to you using certain words. It could be like flower or love, or or it could be a sentence, or it could be a paragraph, whatever it may be. Stay in tune with what God is saying. Use that to practice hearing his voice. It will come and go in probably small sentences or small words or big words. Or you could be sitting there, all of a sudden you get an image, or you get a vision. You might even have a dream at night when you might be sleeping. He uses those to actually communicate with you. Pay attention to hearing the voice of God through using these methods that he uses to speak to us. I know a lot of times it's hard for us to get away and to hear from God, but take a little time, maybe 5-10 minutes a day. We start off slow, and even 2 minutes a day will help, just to hear his voice. I know a lot of times we get so busy with work, or I don't have any kids, but I imagine some of you guys have a lot of kids or a lot of things you have to do around the house or in the house or wherever the case may be. Take your time or take some time out to hear his voice. A lot of times I use the music, soothing music, classical music, even praise and worship music for me to even get my mind right, to get away from the world. Or even I sit here even today and sit on the couch and just nothing, the TV or nothing is on. So I won't have no distraction that may hear from God. And sometimes I sit out here and look out the window, or sitting in my yard or go to a place where I can find peace of mind so I can hear from God. Whatever works for you, do it. Practice it each and every day to discern his voice. And the process will come when you practice it. It takes a little bit of time to understand his voice, but when you get it, you will understand even more by looking and by listening and by sensing. A lot of times when God uses the looking and sensing or dreaming, he will find ways for you to recognize his voice. He will use his places that you love or things that you love to make you feel comfortable that he's speaking with you, because he really want to speak with you today. He really want to have a great relationship with you. Mental images, visions of dreams, and hearing his voice by audible. God do speak to me in audible voice a lot of times. A lot of people don't have that, but with me, he speaks in audible voice. And he uses that to really communicate with me what I have to do in my life to correct an area or to even move forward. So I know there's not a lot of time for me to speak about this, but it's a lot on my heart, and I might continue a little bit more. But I would like to get some feedback from you guys and to hear from you and what stories that God has given you about his voice. And let's grow together and let's live life together. Thank you, Lord.